Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. It's a new episode 1. We're just going to see how we go with this, to be honest.
Yeah, off the cuff, I suppose.
Yeah. We've thought about a few topics, and I forgot what they were already.
Yeah.
So
What I thought was, I guess like height and size over time and how that changes with different factors. I guess like nutrition, maybe.
yeah, the height of human beings, how we've grown. Like me and Jackson are like
You're like 6'6", right?
yeah, 6'7", and
That's
you're
wild. Yeah,
like
6'3".
6'3",
Probably
6'4".
just that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're tall people. We have to crouch down in the shower.
That's it. And do you crouch now?
The shower head is like chest height for me.
Yeah.
So if I want to wash my hair, I have to like duck right under and wash my hair.
Do you like find you just push the nozzle so far back that it just
I've
comes
tried
out, like,
that, but
horizontal?
it goes like all over the bathroom.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful.
Yeah, that's a challenge. But the funny thing is, I guess, like, why I wanted to think about it at the start was my dad owns a ghost tours business, and like there was one story that the Australian did on us when we were in there, and it was because I was a teenager and I was like 6 foot already, and Dad's like 5'7", which isn't even that like short, but comparably it's short in comparison to the heights of the door frames too. Like the door frames were like on my shoulders, literally.
Right.
And that building, it was like a heritage building in the rocks, and it was built in like the 1910s kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it just reflects, I guess, the period and the people of the time.
I think the rocks are older than that though, isn't it? It's like 1800s.
Yeah, but this particular building was built in like the 1910s kind of thing, and it shows, I guess, maybe the design of the time, because you're gonna build like something that reflects what the people need.
Yeah, you don't want to build a door too short so everyone has to duck.
Exactly.
Like, there'll be nobody ducking for that door frame.
Yeah, straight up. But now, like, that's why, like, when they came back and the reporter was like, "Yo, Jackson, can you try and fit in there?" I was like, doing the limbo, just like trying to get in there.
The thing is, like, I'm tall, but like most door frames I can fit under. I go to older buildings, and I find I have to like tilt my head to the side just
So
to get through the door.
For you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally, like I can just like these doors in this house, I can just walk through without having to duck.
Yeah.
And this building is 98 years old. I think this building is.
Yeah, that's funny because
I think they planned ahead for this one.
Yeah, everything in this building is massive. Like the ceilings are like what, almost 3 meters? No, probably like 2.5, 2.8.
That got you 3.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
That's mental. Yeah, that gets me thinking. Long jump or high jump? Did you ever do them in high school or anything?
White men can't jump to start with. I'm terrible at basketball, so I couldn't really jump.
Yeah. What about Blake Griffin though? You know basketball? Blake Griffin. Man, he's got the best slams. Like, and he's white, but he's pretty tall as well though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it's just that's an anomaly. Most basketball players aren't white.
That's true. Yeah.
Because they can't jump. We're tall, but we can't jump.
I think on that point, I think just athleticism. I think in general, like just like white dudes, like or white people in general, aren't as athletic. To be honest, like I know it's a big like how can you kind of claim that? But I just think like.
Well, you must be because.
In terms of like body structure and stuff, like
we win a lot of
Olympic
medals though.
No.
We win a lot of Olympic medals. Like the USA, the UK, and all that. We won quite a bit, and then obviously China somehow wins all the medals.
Yeah. Well, I guess like they know how to like be really good at certain things. Like they know how to develop things really well. Like in terms of improve. I don't know.
Well, I think they got 1/5 of the world's population to pick from.
Yeah, that's so it's like 1.3 billion now or
something like that. But it's like if you got that many people, you're bound to have a few good ones hidden in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, you think so statistically?
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah. Then you got to think. Surely India would have the same thing. They got a similar amount of similar population.
Yeah.
Whether they don't have, I don't know. Did they ever win any Olympic medals?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a different level of like I don't know, focus on competitivity and like national pride, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think with China, like they're going to be the best at something if they're going to participate. Like they're not going to do it half-assed.
Well, I think they can because they might get disappeared if they do it half-assed.
Yeah.
It reflects their country, so they have to be the best.
No, that's it. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying. So, what about the diet would change the height then? Do you think?
Oh no. Pardon me. So yeah, when they were doing that story for the ghost tour business that my dad had, they went into the article and they went into different factors. It was like mainly nutrition though. It was one of the core kind of categories. They said why height has changed over time because people are eating better. They have better quality of life and everything, and that's all coming together to make people be taller and stuff because they're giving the body what it needs in general to flourish and I guess be healthy.
people were malnourished back before like modern
Relatively, yeah.
medicine and modern like scientific knowledge about nutrition. I guess people would just eat anything.
Mm.
They wouldn't get all the right nutrition they needed.
I guess so, yeah. And now we've got like probably arguably too much knowledge on like what's healthy now. We're arguing over what's most healthy. You know, it's like this diet or that diet, or you know, this sort of supplement or that thing. It's like it's just overwhelming. Back in the day, it's like, oh, yo, veggies are good for you. Wow, that's pretty revolutionary.
Yeah, I think recently like the red meat's got a big hit. Like in the past, not sure how long, within the 50 years that we've been eating heaps of red meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like it causes gout and not ever heart problems and things like that.
Like a diet solely like carnivorous.
Yeah, but then like it's gone down, but then it come back around that people have carnivorous diets again, like paleo diets and things like that. They eat a lot of meat.
That's like eating meat and nuts, right? Isn't it?
Meat and nuts, avocados, all those sort of healthy fats.
Oh,
no carbs, I think paleo is.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. But it's funny, yeah, like but yeah, going back to the article, that was the main thing they sort of honed in on, why like people were getting taller and everything.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a lot of kids these days, like you'll go to like a mall or something like that, and you'll see just like, you know, kids like 15, you know, ish old, and they're all fucking tall. Like there's so many.
Like it's more prevalent, from my knowledge, from what I've seen, from my experience, it's more prevalent in Australia. Like in the UK, I'm tall, and there's not many people as tall as me in my hometown, at least. I go out and go places. There are tall people, but not that many.
Yeah.
In Australia, I can go to a nightclub and find 30 people as tall as me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be looking over a crowd of people and I'll see loads of heads popping up. They're all big guys as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are they eating?
Yeah.
They must have a different diet here in Australia.
I don't know, but then that begs the question too, like, is because the UK and Australia, like, culturally very similar in different
most of Australia is expats from the UK.
Exactly. So it begs the question, like, is it just genetics, or is it like, you know, like
it's bound to be diet.
Like
I got a theory.
When
I first came to Australia, I was in Coles, and it's like, no hormone added beef. I'm like, why would you add hormones? I don't understand what this is. Like, why are you promoting no hormone added beef?
Yeah, that leads you to the conclusion that there was hormones before, and that's not a good thing to acknowledge, I guess.
Yeah, and then I think that was part of the reason why people are so big, because you get all these hormones. I've seen like school kids with like shorts on, a school uniform, a blazer, with these little hats and a big beard. I'm like, are you a school kid or are you like a 30-year-old man? Like,
right.
Can't tell sometimes.
He's like, we've been ingesting too much testosterone and shit like that.
Yeah, it must be. I've never seen so many like gorilla men, children.
My children.
Yeah, my children. Just they're so big. Like, I know you get like in school you get like, the rugby players and things like that. But there's a lot of them in Australia. Whether it's just like the genetics of the immigrants that come here or what, I'm not sure.
It must play a hand, yeah. Because if that's like anecdotally kind of true, there must be some factor that goes into it, for sure. No, that's funny, yeah. But I just got me thinking, like, you know, why is there such a difference? It seems to be because everywhere I look now, there's tall people.
Yeah, well, you got to think that not everywhere you look.
Like but youthful people, like people on the like younger side.
Yeah, I guess. Like Olivia's brother is like 6'2" or 6'3".
Really?
Obviously, he's Asian as well. Yeah. So tall Asians, like I don't know, blue moons.
Yeah, that's it.
Then you got to think like the Dutch and the Germans are tall.
Yes, the Dutch.
Why are the Dutch so tall? Like if their houses are tall, I don't get it. Like,
a lot of inbreeding, I reckon.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I reckon it was like selective breeding.
Yeah.
Like they were a very rich country, and you would select the best genetics to pass on to your kids and whatnot. And the same with Germany. Obviously, Germany had Hitler, the eugenics sort of system.
And everything, yeah.
Could be why Germans are so tall, and I don't know.
That's a whole topic in itself, I suppose. Yeah. Jesus Christ, like I'm sure there's been studies on that. Like
all these tests they did, they wiped out all these diseases by like just murdering people, basically.
Yeah.
Then you look at Germany now, and like I don't know, everything about them, it just seems like I don't know. Good genetics.
Good genetics. Yeah, that's it. No, they're just like strong people, they're healthy people, and as you said, they're pretty damn tall majority of the time.
I met a lot of German backpackers because that's all you get over here. German backpackers everywhere.
You get German backpackers everywhere, like all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah,
and they're all big guys. They're all like over 6 foot tall.
Yeah,
like rarely you meet someone that's shorter from Germany.
I agree, actually. Yeah, a lot of the time they do. It's funny. South America especially, there's heaps of German backpackers. oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's not too surprising, right? Considering that Hitler apparently established a colony in Argentina or so.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't think people from Germany now, unless they're like neo-Nazis, would be going to Argentina to try and find Hitler.
No, but I guess that's not the point I'm making. I think the point is like that's always been kind of like a backup for the German kind of population, being like
What, South America?
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because there's certain communities you'll go to in like not Argentina, but you go to like for example maybe like Venezuela or Chile kind of thing, and there'll be towns in the middle of nowhere, full German speaking and full German culture.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that literally exists, and you wonder like how does that exist when those countries are so geographically distant?
They're so separate. There was no way to travel 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Commercially.
It's like there's a connection between these two in terms of like colonialism in the past or trading partners or just
Probably something like that. The same thing in most bigger cities here. We have like Chinatowns or things like that. Like certain suburbs have certain types of people, but I never really heard of any other country having a separate village where it's only another nationality.
Yeah, no, I've heard like little stories and stuff like that. I don't know if there's any merit or credibility to it, but yeah, as I said, just like full towns where it's just all German speaking people in the middle of like a South American Spanish speaking country, like the weirdest thing. Yeah, it's funny.
You'd have thought they would speak Spanish to interact with the locals, but it's like a separate country. Almost.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you get certain like areas, like maybe like how can I not generalize? Well, certain areas that they would all sort of certain cultures would all spawn together. If you've got all your family and community there, like there's not really any incentive to, I guess, acculturate or adapt to different sort of customs. If you're just going to keep within that community, I suppose.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a reason why. If they just speak German, they would be pretty just content amongst themselves.
Yeah, be hardcore Germans.
If they were full just like ride or die like Germans.
I'm coming here. I'm not going to learn the language. I'm just going to start. We're going to start our own village just in case Germany gets taken over.
Straight up, yeah.
The thing is that could have technically been Hitler's family and entourage set up camp in Venezuela. What was it? Venezuela?
Yeah, it was either Chile or Venezuela. I think the stories.
Yeah, they could have went there as like Nazis from Germany, but there were reports of them going there.
Yeah.
And like they could be like that sort of stronghold. If Germany got taken over or lost a war or anything, that's the backup.
Yeah, because there definitely was a backup. Like.
Yeah, you wouldn't go, oh, this is me, this is what I'm doing, and not have any plans in place.
Yeah, and they were quite a mighty power in World War II era. Like there weren't any pushovers. So they did, like Germany, like Nazi Germany.
I reckon the Germans would have won the war, but they messed with the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them,
the Russians,
they would have won. Like they had the Japanese on their side.
The war on like many fronts.
Yeah, and who else was it? They had Japanese. They obviously they took over Europe, so then all the European armies were like Nazi armies basically.
Yeah.
And then they started trying to take over the Soviet Union, and then was it Stalin was like, oh, actually,
it was like no, I think
we were allies before, but now.
Yeah, his motto was like, I think his motto was like not one step backwards. So like if any of his like soldiers retreated, like they would shoot their own soldiers and shit because that's how ruthless Stalin was. Like, and everyone that reported to him in the generals or corporals or anyone else down the chain of command, like they were just so ruthless. Like giving up wasn't an option at all because it's either you die by the Germans or you would die by your own officers like shooting you. So like there's no choice when you're
you just have to do what you can and try and win for your country.
I can't imagine. Yeah, so if you have that level of ruthlessness and relentlessness, I can only imagine how the Nazis would have felt about that time. Just
well, anyone at war, like anyone, like, you can't just hide anywhere. You can't like go to war and hide because you won't be able to return to your home country.
No, literally, yeah, you'd be out in your ass.
You have to go and literally go and just die, like a 90-something% chance you'll die.
Yeah.
And just go and just shoot who you can and try to survive the longest, I guess.
Yeah. But I don't know, it leads me to sort of like, I don't know, wonder if Hitler wasn't as ambitious and took longer, would Nazi have triumphed in the end, I suppose? And we have like a man in a high castle kind of scenario, when they spread their influence to like the US, for example.
I think, I would say so, yeah. Like, they knew there were issues. Obviously, a lot of it was secret. Like we didn't know about all the genocide and things until after the war. The scale of it, really. But I reckon if they did it slowly, and obviously The thing is, wasn't it in Germany, even before the war, they had like ghettos for Jews and things like that? That was part of it.
Towards the late 30s, yeah. Like they started doing it, but then when it became more systematic and more kind of like oppressive, like I think a lot of like Jewish people and a lot of people that were persecuted in that Holocaust period, they escaped, but the ones that didn't, they unfortunately got swept up in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't as like far-reaching and pervasive towards the end of the 30s kind of thing. I think it was like 1936, 37 when they started having that kind of system put in place. And
They have separate areas and separate shops you have to go to and things, separate schools.
Yeah, it began with like, systematic prejudice and then discrimination, and then like actions led to another. And
So do you think it was like a religion thing? Or do you reckon it was just...
like the persecution of the Jews and stuff?
Yeah, did you think he was against the religion of Judaism or against the people that followed that religion? Like the way they think about certain things?
I think it's probably just their way of life too. I think it's the people. I don't think it was the religion. I think it was what they embodied as like a group of people.
Yeah.
Because if you think about like Hitler's vision was like, Aryan superiority, he wanted like the sort of your master race kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that like he just viewed anyone that had any opposing kind of like view to his values and best practices and stuff, he was just like, no, not gonna happen. We're gonna, just do mass genocide on that.
Yeah. You got to think though, like out of all the religions that have had it bad, I think the Jews have always had it the worst.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's always after them for some reason.
Like with Israel, Palestine, is in World War II. If it's in even in what's it called in Russia, like Jews in Russia, like they can't get a break, like. So, yeah.
Even like in thousands of years they've been around. They've been targeted.
Yeah.
Whether it's just like people, I don't know. I think the way they do things probably a good way in sense of like their own community and things like that. I think old school Judaism was very like they would throw stones at people and things. It was like very barbaric compared to like modern day Judaism.
Yeah. That's funny, like, when you go on the topic of religion, you go down the rabbit hole, but yeah, like, all of these, a lot of religion, like, I'm not very religious, like, I'm agnostic kind of thing, but you see, like, so much conviction and so much kind of, like, passion goes into, defending a lot of these views and perspectives that were from a text that's thousands of years old, and, people are trying to warp and adapt it to suit a modern context when doesn't necessarily reflect what the original message was about, kind of thing. Like I just struggle to kind of connect with that.
Well, the thing is, the Bible has been rewritten. We know that we have different editions of the Bible, and of different translations. Different messages are portrayed with different like translations of different words. The grammar has obviously changed, and things mean other things. You can't take it at face value. You know what I mean? Because it's so old and it's so edited. Basically, it was like I would say it's a collection of stories of just like hearsay, anecdotal evidence. People wrote about the guy they knew. I think all different chapters all tell the same story, but in a different way, for different eyes, for different people's perspectives. And like I think it just changed over time, and then was re-edited, and then bits were added, and then obviously to suit the times they were being, like say like in medieval times. When was the era? I don't know.
Like
anyway,
1200s, I don't know.
Yeah, so they would have changed the Bible then to suit that era. Like 2,000 years ago when it happened, like Christianity only rose like a few hundred years after that. Or like not, it wasn't straight away, but quite far after that. So even then, it wouldn't have been. It would have been like anecdotal stories people would tell of each other.
Yeah, that's it. Unless there's like actual texts that corroborate like a lot of those stories kind of.
I think they have Dead Sea Scrolls. I think that's like the oldest sort of versions of like the Bible and things like that.
Yeah, I used to study history when I was in high school. Like there was this one, it was like extension history, and a lot of like the subject based in topic matter was like what is it's like historiography kind of thing, which is like what's the truth behind history kind of thing, like how the perspectives being shaped, and how do we know that something is the truth? And the answer is the truth is subjective. It always is kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's very few absolute truths in the world, I think. For example, like you could say the sky is blue. I could be like, I'm colorblind.
Yeah, your perception.
Which person's truth is true. They're both true. It
Yeah.
depends, on what your kind of values and perspectives is. Yeah. But it's funny though. Like when you look at the history back through, the lens kind of thing. It's just so, I don't know, so ambiguous. Trying to be like, hey, this was the fact and that was fiction kind of thing. Because a lot of the time, it really depends on the person.
Yeah, like even you got to think most facts are like become untrue over time as we learn new things about the thing, like the previous fact.
Yeah.
Like you could say, oh, this is how this works, and then in 50 years' time, there's new science that says no, it actually is something else, and that's no longer a fact.
That's it. Yeah, like having what was it? Lead in our petrol. Lead in our petrol wasn't unsafe kind of thing,
Yeah, they thought
so now we've got unleaded petrol because obviously fucking lead is terrible for you.
Smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
That doctors would say smoke cigarettes, they're good for you. And then obviously that was a fact. They were good for you. Scientific evidence said it was good for you.
Yeah, because
then new scientific evidence says, actually no, it's not great for you.
Yeah.
But we keep them anyway.
That's it. No. Have you ever been a habitual smoker in your life?
No, I tried it a few times. Like if I was out partying, someone offered me one in my early 20s, I'd say yeah, just to join the conversation.
Yeah. It always tends to coincide when like you're getting a bit hammered, hey? Like when you go on the cigarettes a little bit.
Yeah, like you wouldn't do it sober because it just tastes disgusting. And also when you're out drinking, you want to be with your mates. And if your mates smoke, you have to follow them, I guess. You can't just stand at the bar by yourself.
Yeah, especially because if they go all outside, you're just like, oh shit, like, you're just going to leave me here then? Like, come on.
And not like you feel pressured into it, but like you feel like you want to do it just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something about smoking as well. Like when you're stood there with a cigarette and you're like, I don't know what it is, it's a social thing, just the action of having something in your hand and smoking.
It's symbolism, I think, because it represents like so many, different symbols in society. Like we've all thought that, like sitting back kind of, just like looking super like brooding and smoking a cigarette is like, just like super kind of like, I don't know, classy or like, just like nonchalant or like has a certain image that's,
like an old man smoking a pipe has a certain image too.
Yeah, like he definitely goes to a gentleman's club, he definitely drives like a fucking old school, GM.
Aston Martin.
Yeah, that's it. Like there's certain perceptions that we bring and like it's very common because they're all portrayed in like movies and cinema and TV and
but the thing is, people follow this perception trying to get that like persona that they're trying to copy. Yeah. Like people will smoke a pipe now to be cool, to try and look like they're the guy that goes to like gentlemen's clubs. But they don't actually follow that lifestyle.
Have you seen any of that these days? Like people like probably smoking a pipes that aren't over 60?
I haven't seen it, no. No one smokes it anymore. If you're smoking a pipe, you're not going to be doing it in the smoking area outside the pub, are you? You're going to be at home watching TV or something, so nobody even knows.
Imagine that. Some like hipster bloke at like, or hipster bloke wouldn't be an Argyle, but like some kind of like pub and he just goes out and you just have a chat with him and he whips out his pipe and
stuff in the tobacco.
How funny would that be? Oh my goodness.
I'm like, you're okay.
That'd be hilarious.
Have a cigarette.
Yeah, it's funny. Like that whole kind of, school of thought that everyone just knows what it means.
Yeah.
But it's just from like, from media that we've all seen throughout our lives and that's what we believe is the perception of it. But it's funny, yeah. Nah, but yeah, I don't smoke either, just because like, I really don't like the taste.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously you have smoked.
Yeah, like everyone, you have a little bit of a, you gotta taste it, experience it, because then, like, that you don't like it after that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the point of truth, you say, hey, I like this, I'm gonna continue it, or like, I try it and I despise it kind of thing.
But I think, like, getting into smoking, you got to be doing it for a reason, because it tastes like shit.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Either it's somehow, let's say you start smoking when you're like at work and someone's smoking, and you say, oh, do you mind if I try one? And you're having a stressful day. It'll relieve that stress, and then you'll use that as your stress relief from then on. Yeah. Or it's like you start smoking because you think it's cool when you're young, and to be honest, it does seem pretty cool. I never smoked when I was younger, like teenagers. Like, see the kids outside school smoking, it's like naughty kids. Yeah. You're part of the cool gang. Yeah. And you join in, and then like you get hooked from the nicotine, and it just takes me. I think once you're hooked, I think after the first initial hook, it's hard to get off that.
Yeah. We got a family friend, and she's been like quitting on and off for years and years, and anytime like her husband will like go and like grab her cigarettes, like she's like a pack a day smoker still, like and he'll go grab cigarettes and put it in the bin kind of thing, and within like the next hour she'll have gone to the store, grab a new pack, and come back kind of thing. So like it's
they
just
must have no money.
Oh well, they're rich as hell, so like it doesn't even matter to them. But the thing is, like, it's a super unhealthy habit because she's cutting her life short, kind of thing. But the thing is, like, my mom's always been like, because he's a close friend of hers, like, he's like, why don't you want to kind of quit, kind of thing. And the thing is, like, she wants to, but she's not willing to, kind of thing. It's willingness, kind of thing.
Well, there's no reason for her. She doesn't need to quit. She doesn't need to quit because she's on death's door, and if she doesn't quit, she's going to die tomorrow. She's going to die in 10 years' time from smoking. But that's not a now issue.
Yeah.
We can only perceive the next few hours or the next day. I think our genetics of like, okay, we're out in the bush, we just left our cave, we need to get food for tomorrow. Once we get food, we're satisfied for a bit. And then,
our brains are still very much primal. 100%.
Well, I think 200,000 years we've been human beings, Homo sapiens, and only in the past 100 years we've been addicted to things. Like, we haven't developed how to understand that addiction. Like, I can be addicted to video games, and like people who are addicted to like social media, checking every 5 seconds. Oh my god, I've got a new like. The phone's just buzzing all day. Like, we haven't developed our brain to how to deal with that yet.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that because I think that like that predisposition to be addicted to things has always been there, but I think that we've just understood psychology a lot better recently to know how to hook it in a more effective way, and then it's hard to fight against that because our brains, they can't comprehend or fight against it.
Well, because we're just dumb people, and they got the smartest scientists finding out how the best way to hook it
and stuff. Yeah.
Like even there's a guy from Facebook or Google or ex-Google guy.
What's their name?
I can't remember his name. He was on a podcast with Sam Harris.
Sam Harris.
Yeah, basically he was saying like they've researched so much into like how to get people hooked, and even on Facebook, that little red dot that says you got a new notification. They said that the best colour they found to get a quick response was red. So like little things like that, and the way they show notifications, and the way they sort of make you want to have a look, and they keep showing you things that like obviously you like. So then it keeps you going on the app to find more things you like. It's just like a constant feedback loop.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like this area of like thought kind of thing, because it's used in so many different like industries or disciplines kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm from a marketing background, and like obviously like throughout history, like marketing hasn't been very good at like using kind of people's vices against them, like in a good way kind of thing. Hence their vices, I guess. But yeah, you just learn so many different like little like heuristics people use, and different kind of like mental kind of biases and stuff like that. There's so many ways that we can be influenced by different things. It's mind-boggling when you start to learn some of these things, and like how out of control we really are.
Yeah.
Like everyone thinks we're in control, we're not in control.
Yeah.
Like,
we
try to be.
Everyone controls you. You can't, especially in a big city, you can't live your life without being controlled somewhere. There's always an advert somewhere, or like someone trying to sell something, or like big flashy signs, sale, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
Buy this.
Yeah, and people say like, advertising doesn't work, or I hate advertising, but there's a reason why so many companies spend billions of dollars a year, because it has a return. Like it
works,
does work. It does work, literally.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, see, even if you're not like, sort of perceptive to it, in your mind right now, like your subconscious always picks up on certain things that resonate with you. And that's the power of advertising. It's not in the now, it's when you recall something later, and then that leads you to a decision.
Yeah.
Because if I see, for example, I'm going to go, say I'm talking about like a candy or something like that, I'm choosing between like a chocolate biscuit. If I choose between like, I have a choice between like the Coles home brand and then like, Arnott's mint slice, I'm going to go with Arnott's. I've seen that a million times over. People have told me, all over the years, this is the brand of preference because, they've been using it, and it's just so many things that like stick with you over time. Advertising reinforces all that sort of,
I'm the same with Coke. Like, I never go buy a Pepsi. Never buy Pepsi.
Neither. Yeah.
I take Pepsi if they haven't got Coke. Like, Coke advertising is just everywhere.
That's it,
like, everywhere.
Relentless, yeah. And that's why it works, even though it's just, they just bloody like drown you out with it. Like, you're just not going to ignore it. You can't ignore it, that's the thing.
Yeah. The thing is, like, the way they collect information on technology as well, that directs the advert to you personally in a way that works for you.
Yeah.
Like the algorithms, they know exactly what you're doing and how you respond to certain things.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy how to think, like,
yeah,
everyone advertising on the social media these days, because obviously that's the biggest media platforms.
Yeah.
And like, what's the ethics behind that? Like, before you have an advert designed to capture the general population of that demographic of the thing you're advertising. But now it's like, we know who you are and how you think, and we're going to put an advert directly on you, specified within this, obviously, these parameters.
Yeah.
Like, what's the ethics behind that?
Well, that's a big thing why like a lot of these social media companies have been like at the scrutiny of like regulators and stuff, is because it's a black box. Like, you don't really know what's going on in those algorithms because they're proprietary, right? Like, they, even internally, I don't think they really have a grasp fully on like what it's capable of. And me and you as like regular citizens,
we won't have a clue about anything.
No idea. Yeah, that's it.
You gotta think they must have set the algorithm and programmed it into what it should do and how it should learn. And now it's so big, no single human brain would be able to think out how it's actually doing it. Like, it can go, oh, this is the same program I've done before, but because it's always learning about things. You taught it to learn to learn, and then to learn like on top of that. Now it's so many levels deep. It knows so many intricate little movements. How fast you swipe, you scroll, what video you watch, what length of the video you watch.
Yeah, that's
what it recommends videos of that length and.
Yeah, it's all been captured 100%.
Yeah, there's a lot of information and no coding. It must be AI, because no individual coding could remember that.
It's a form of machine learning, yeah. Sort of just learn over time kind of thing. Probably like unsupervised learning that just like over time, like it'll lead to a certain conclusion based on like the inputs kind of thing, over time.
You think you've
got to make sense of it somehow.
It's got to have got rid of all market research companies.
I think fully. I think it depends upon like the mass market, like
just the general population,
B2C kind of thing. Yeah.
Not like what do you call it? Business customers, but like just general the public.
Yeah, like consumer stuff. Like
consumers,
you want to sell like a
laptop or anything like that. Like there's no other way to market other than social media. There's no point. Why put an ad in the paper? You just put spend 10 times less and put it on social media, and it literally only goes to the people who are interested in those things already. Say I start selling glasses, like for drinking water, and like this is fancy, I don't know, a certain product.
Yeah.
And then people that are searching that sort of thing, or they're like, oh, how do you drink more water? You sell them a glass that helps them drink more water. There's something like that. Like you'll be able to target certain people.
Yeah. The funny thing was like with stuff like that, with cookies and stuff in advertising, like a lot of the time it gets it right, but more often than not it does get it wrong too. For example, like you've either have you ever had it happen when you purchased a holiday and say I wanted to go to New Zealand, they'd be like, hey, flights to New Zealand. They'd be like, why do I want to look at that? I've already booked my flights to New Zealand. You should have known that. But see,
there's other cookies though from other linked websites where it sold the data to, just in case you haven't booked it.
In case you haven't, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I guess that's the point. But then like when I see that, I go, hey, that's not useful kind of thing. So I'm gonna tune out of that kind of thing. Yeah. But if you offer me something else, based on like my intent, for example, that I've already booked that there, I'm gonna need a hotel in New Zealand. Maybe I haven't booked that. Maybe I want to go whitewater rafting or something like that. Yeah.
So it might be linked to things like that. Or now you've got a flight. Why not look for hotels?
I think a lot of these like systems are getting a bit better at recognizing like that and becoming less wasteful with how they target people, kind of thing.
It all depends on the advert. I've been on like Amazon looking for a certain thing. Yeah. I search it. I look at it, look at a few products, and then I'll go onto like a website or a news website, and they've got like Amazon adverts. They show me the things I just looked at, literally minutes ago. Not even think like it, the exact product.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm like, the advert's pretty basic, to be honest. Hasn't learned anything about me. It just knows what I've looked at that moment. Because obviously Amazon's linked them to my account.
Yeah.
Cookies and things like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Then other advertising for like Facebook and Instagram, they know exactly what you like.
Yeah.
You know you on a personal level.
That's it, yeah. And like there's been like accusations that like Messenger has been listening in on like your FaceTime stuff or your Messenger video calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the video calls too.
You should, Facebook is not encrypted.
Yeah, that's right.
And you got to think WhatsApp is, and that's owned by Facebook, but at least like that's encrypted end to end. So I mean, it's only you and the other person that can see it.
Yeah.
But Facebook, they can go into anyone's thing if they want to and just read all the messages. No encryption.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing.
Yeah, a lot of privacy issues there. But the thing is, like, it's their platform. Like, you've consented to whatever's in their terms and conditions.
I don't want to know what's in their terms and conditions. Like, they'll probably use my face of photos I put up 10 years ago to create some AI thing that can recognize me when I'm out walking the street in the future.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, the rabbit hole could go so deep, and
I
it's
think
like, do you want to know about that? I for one kind of do, but kind of don't.
You live in a state of fear, though, wouldn't you? You wouldn't leave your house. You'd throw away all your technology and live like a hermit.
Yeah.
Like
the makers of a Black Mirror episode, probably.
Yeah, life's easy with all this stuff, and I'm happy life's easy. But the thing is, you can't escape it.
Yeah.
Like, imagine living in the world where you have a job. Okay, so you need to pay for fuel. You need to have a bank account. You need to put your information on that. You need to do online banking to make sure you've got enough money in there, so you don't have to go to the ATM to check your bank statement.
Definitely. Like, you can't
There's
do
so
it any
many
other
things.
way.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be so hard to live analog these days.
You need an email. Everyone needs an email. Like, you can't go onto a website and create it. You can't go to Amazon without an email.
Yeah.
They need a password, they need to put your address and then credit card details in.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Once you put that in, they can track you.
Mm.
Once you create an email address, that email address is linked to all these accounts, like Amazon, eBay, like all this sort of stuff, so it knows what you're doing and it can link it all together.
Mm. Yeah, that's it. Like,
you can't do anything without an email address.
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, it's just how dependent, I guess. Like, the realization of how dependent we are on, you know, just the internet. Honestly, like, if you tried to live analog for even a week, not a long period of time, I don't think it'd be possible, to be honest.
Well,
even if your job didn't rely directly on being connected to the internet. Like, say for example, let's say I was like a chimney sweep. I don't know, just random job. I don't know why I picked chimney sweep, but I was a chimney sweep.
You don't need a fund. Say you're just an employee. You don't own a business, so you're just an employee.
Just an employee. Okay. Yeah. Just an employee. But still, you know, that leaves a lot of, you know, things about communication. How do I communicate, you know, to get my roster kind of thing? How do I, you know, communicate like time to be at the client kind of thing? You know?
Yeah.
Would I need to write letters to everyone kind of thing? If you're doing it fully like, you know, analog, like not even. Well, I guess you could use like phones kind of thing.
The phones, landline.
Landline. Yeah, that's the thing.
Landline from a phone box. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But then, you know, say if I'm like out going to a job and then suddenly something happens, something changes last minute. I'm not going to know until I get there because I can't get called on my mobile. Kind of thing. There's just such a level of flexibility and adaptability that we wouldn't have without the system we have today.
But the thing is, I remember like 10 years ago, I didn't even have a sat nav. I don't know how I drove anywhere.
Yeah, you bring off those like fuck off crazy big books that you would just sort of like like the directory kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a book about the UK while driving. I had like AA road map. They're like £5 or something like that. Yeah. Have every road in the whole UK.
Yeah.
If you want to know where to go, you just follow this.
Yeah, that's a blast from the past.
But now you try and I think Sydney's roads and Sydney's signs are terrible. So even if you did know where you were going, you still get lost.
Yeah, especially in the city, it's so hard. Like with the, you know, like the different like highway exits and entries and stuff like that.
Yeah, it don't make sense.
I've lived here my whole life, and I still like get confused by it. They don't make any
sense because the signs are wrong to start with.
Yeah,
they tell you some information, but not all the information.
Yeah,
like say I come off over Anzac Bridge, and then you go towards the city. Yeah, down Bathurst Street and straight through the city where we get Cross City Tunnel. Yeah. That exit for both Bathurst Street and across City Tunnel say toll. When I was first driving there in my own car, I was like, something that said there's no tolls this way, but there's a sign that says toll.
Yeah, the boat tolls. How can I escape
this? But there is no toll.
It's random, yeah.
Like it says toll on the sign, it says toll on the road.
Yeah.
You drive that way, there's no toll there.
Yeah.
There's a toll on the just a little slip road to across City Tunnel.
And then, yeah.
There's so many signs like that I see. Like, it'll say something, but it's not true.
It's like a double negative or a double.
Well, it is true, but it's not the full story.
Yeah.
Like not the whole like the sign's missing a lot of information.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if I had to get around Sydney without a sat nav, I wouldn't know what I would do.
Yeah.
I'd be getting lost quite a lot.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. But I remember in my hometown, like I think I was a teenager, and like people would stop and ask for directions.
Mm.
Hey mate, where's this shop?
Yeah.
And I have to tell them, over the roundabout, turn left at the traffic lights.
Yeah. Those days when people actually ask for directions.
Yeah.
That was it's a long time ago since anyone's ever asked me, or vice versa. I've asked them for that. Unless I'm in another country, but like.
In another country, generally you can sort of stop and ask people, like where something is if you're in the general vicinity of it.
Yeah. But like you're still going to use that now if you're traveling overseas.
Yeah, you got
like that.
normally. I think everyone's now got online maps and offline maps on their phone.
Yeah.
And download all the information,
100%.
so you don't have to interact with the rest of the world. You just travel it and just ignore everyone.
Yeah, I remember like, but before, like when you took a trip in the car, like you had to plan that before. I had like a little paper sheet and I would write, you go right at this road and then straight there for a while and then left at that, and it'd be all approximate.
I remember like with street maps or something. One of these like I remember the online map when they first came out. You could take a picture of the map and it'll tell you left at this road, right at that road. You know on Google Maps when you go on the thing and you can like scroll up and it tells you which direction to take at what interval.
Yeah.
I remember that, and you're like, take A417 to here, A22 to here,
like little line
off in this direction. Yeah, I'm like, if I miss a turn, I'm like, how do I get back?
Yeah.
I have no idea where I am now.
That's it, yeah. The plan goes all out the window because you've only planned for that one kind of like.
Yeah, you missed that step, or someone your co-pilot not paying attention.
Yeah.
Trying to change the music.
Yeah.
Like,
trying to be the DJ, yeah.
You gotta try to figure out, and you gotta pull over and ask somebody in the next town over, how do I get here? Oh, those were the days.
Yeah. I don't know, to me, like, it raises a question, like, it's kind of nice getting lost sometimes, though, because then you discover different things, like.
Yeah, I think you use your brain more as well, though. Like, when I first started driving my car, there was no sat-nav. Like, I would just get in the car and drive, and then, like, I would know where to go, because I would know my hometown.
Yeah.
And then, when I would go to a job, like, in the next town over, I would follow the electrician that was going there, or I'd go in the van with them a few times.
Yeah.
What time, like, you have to remember where you're going. You can't just, like, play on your phone or not pay attention. You have to remember what street you're going on, which turn to make.
That's it.
The next week you'll be driving your own car there.
Yeah, that's it. Remember like certain landmarks.
You don't want to get lost, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In the middle of the forest somewhere in a small town, like, am I in the right place?
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I just remember driving was so easy without sat-navs. Like, in your own area. You get so used to where you go. But now, like, I can't function. Like, even in my hometown, when I go back there, I'm like, I need a sat-nav to know where to go. What's the quickest way to get there? Rather than like, I know how to get there. What's the quickest way?
Yeah.
I want to get there right now.
Yeah.
So just do it.
We just sort of become accustomed to it, There's so efficient technology. Yeah. It's like, well, why wouldn't you kind of thing? Because it just, you're going to get a consistent kind of experience with it, and it's going to be pretty right.
Like, like when you catch the train or a bus, you get there a few minutes before. You don't want to get there and wait half an hour.
Yeah.
Like you go, the train leaves at 10:20. I'll get there at 10:15.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, like back in the olden days, you just turn
The
at the bus stop
days.
and like, there's probably a bus. Who knows?
Yeah. Feeling old, Dan.
No, I'm feeling old.
Reminiscing about the days.
No, but I went to Cuba a few years back. It's the same there. They don't have a bus timetable. They have a bus that goes in a loop.
Yeah.
It turns up when it turns up.
Cuba time.
Yeah, Cuba time. You just sit and wait. And if the bus is full, you wait for the next one. Which is between an hour and 4 hours. You never know.
Yeah. Sometimes I still do that these days, like with the routes I know kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like when I'm going home, like I know I have to catch, one train and then that bus and then another bus and then I'll be home kind of thing. But like when I'm doing that, like I don't look at the maps because I know that I'm going to have to go that way.
What bus stop to use, what number of bus to catch.
And I'm like whenever it's going to turn up, I'm just going to wait there because nothing else to do but go back that way.
Yeah.
That's the journey I'm going to take. Kind of.
Could you imagine arriving in Sydney before like Google Maps and things like this, looking at a bus stop and thinking, what the fuck is... Literally, it's some numbers and a destination. That's all it tells you. Oh, okay, where's this bus go?
Yeah.
How do they find this information out?
Like one of those simple ones where it's just got that like little pole with that square kind of sign, and that's
it. Just tells you the number and what time it turns up.
Yeah.
I'm so used to having a map. Like in the UK, you have the number of the bus, where it stops, and a map, and it tells you each stop on a map of the city.
That's actually useful. That would be useful, yeah.
And it's like this big. It's a huge A1 size piece of paper. It tells you everything.
Yeah.
But here it's like, I went to the bus stop. It's like 327 and 275N. I'm like, where's it go?
That's the service. Like that's pretty cool. But like, what's the actual path? I understand.
I don't know where to get off and
It's good with trip planner now, like that does everything, like, online you can see where you are and like with your GPS and stuff, but as you said back in the day.
The thing is, how many people's phones die now. Like your battery dies when you're out and about, or if you're on a night out somewhere and you're always on your phone messaging your friends.
Yeah.
Your phone dies off like 2%, and you have to somehow go on Google Maps. And you're like an hour trip home, and you have to know which bus to get on at what time.
That's it. You just have to have
have
a good memory. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, what you do.
Yeah, no, that's it. But I guess generally, even in that situation, like you're kind of with friends or something like that, or you've got some other backup kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or you're staying at a friend's house kind of thing, or like you've already, you know, got a lift back or etc.
Yeah.
Like something like that.
Do you think people will get rid of this, like not people, but like in society, they get rid of this like timetables because everything will be on your phone?
Yeah.
Like, why have a sign that has directions when you, if everyone's using their phone, why have a sign?
For the rare cases where you can't use the phone.
In 10 years' time, everyone will have a phone. Like 20 years' time, you'll have phones in your eyeballs or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like phones will be like engineered into your body so that you'll just know shit. Things will just be like Elon Musk has that Neuralink thing where you can like link to your brain and like you can just think it and it'll just tell your brain where to go and you don't have to like even look at anything. When it gets to that stage, do you need road signs? Do you need like a sign on a shop?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's just, you know, uptake, like, you know, the question, as you said, like, what would be the use case kind of thing, you know? Like, if everyone truly does use GPS, like, 100% there wouldn't be any use. But maybe, like, for the odd occasion where, like, you're not paying attention kind of thing, or you just sort of don't want to use it, or there's, like, compliance or regulatory issues, I don't know. Maybe there's some...
there could be a stage in the future, though, where people will just accept it. And, like people would accept that everyone's got a mobile phone. 20 years ago, it's all phone tracking. It's annoying. Oh, whose phone's going off? I'm trying to enjoy the time here. Now, if your phone doesn't go off, it's like, why hasn't my phone gone off yet? I don't know.
I think too, like, back on the point about like having signs or like repealing signs altogether, like I think it's more than anything, like it's not really a directional thing, it's more just like a cue kind of thing to like know what you're going to do eventually kind of thing. But when I see like a sign, I'm like, I don't necessarily like think about it in the bigger picture, like where I'm going to go through that sign. I'm like, oh, I need to turn soon. So it primes my brain to like be prepared to like merge or something like that. That's how I see
it. Like merge signs and like lane added and left lane ends.
Not those ones, but like even just like turning things like that where it's like, you know, like Wollongong, like that way, like it just like
I want to go in that direction sort of thing.
Gets my brain ready to like know that I have to be over there.
Well, I'm saying if you've got your phone there, or like in the future we've got the phones in our brains, or whatever they call them then. It won't be a phone, it'll be something more. Like think of like a mobile phone and iPads. Not even that old.
Be like a neural network transfer thing.
Yeah, you have a SIM card in your brain, and you plug into your ear, and then you got your network. And they can track you wherever you go. Which will be the norm, I reckon, because like, they already track you anyway. They listen to our conversations. Every personal device is accessible. Anyway, so I reckon in the future they won't need signs.
I can definitely say that. If that's the case, for sure. Like if everything is like performs the same function kind of thing, and you can still get to from A to B. 100%.
But imagine like augmented reality. Every shop front is just a white square with a window and a door. But you got your augmented reality, and you can see like the brand of the shop. They got a QR code on the wall. And it scans that, and it just creates a shop front. So you don't need all these fancy things, adverts and things like that, like display fronts. You could just walk past the shop, and it was just. It's like every shop, you like take your glasses off or contact it or whatnot. It's just a white shop everywhere, no signs. You put them on, if you're privileged enough to have these technology, you put them on and you can see what shop it is. And you can access it.
Okay. That's interesting. I just wonder, like,
dystopian future.
The business person in me is like, how many people will be out of business, you know?
Well, it'd be prestigious,
business, I guess.
Oh, like member-only sort of shops.
Oh, okay, I get what you mean. Like, not a whole society thing, like...
it will be like a caste system or like social credits thing going on. Like, but you know what I mean? It will be though. Like, you have that at the moment. Like, if you're rich enough, you get a member's card to dine at this restaurant. Or like, only certain people can go into this club or bar. Same sort of thing. Or they set the price so it only attracts those sort of people.
Like you pay $100 for like a steak dinner, like.
Well, $1,000, and you get high class people living there. I think there will be some sort of system like that in the future. Once they have like,
wouldn't discount it.
Once they know everything about you, they'll be able to limit what you do and things like that.
I think it's still gonna form like there's still gonna be like a barrier of like, you know, acceptance. Like I don't think a lot of people will
Over the
accept anything
generations,
either.
though, it becomes normal. Like,
Maybe.
people would think, oh, I don't want people listening to my phone calls. Like, people, oh my god, they're going to bug my phone back in like old movies and things. Now they bug your phone permanently and you don't care.
Yeah, it's because like the benefit is stress more than the cost of it, kind of thing. That's the only reason why
they give you free software and it works flawlessly. You don't know why it's free, do you? You're like, oh, I get a phone, I pay for the hardware, all the software is free, I can use it endlessly forever.
Yeah.
Like, why is that free?
No free lunches, yeah. There's always a, you know.
They must be making a lot of money off it. Like, if they can sell me the Google software and the Google search engine, or I pay a monthly fee, they don't take any of my data, how much will that cost?
Yeah.
Like, what's their profit margin on me as a person? Like, imagine if everything was a subscription service. Like, you got to subscribe to like Facebook Plus, and they don't collect any of your data or send you any adverts.
Yeah.
What's the cost of that per month?
Yeah.
Like, think Spotify with adverts is free. Without adverts, what is it, $12, $13 a month?
Yeah, around that, which is not that much to be honest. Like,
yeah, and then you
got
think with adverts, they're making almost $12 per month from advertising per person, and that's just a bit of music. Like, they must be making us. You know what I mean? They must. What's the value on like Snapchat and TikTok for all these advertising?
User kind of thing, like the dollar per user they would get from advertising.
I think Snapchat's worth like 30 billion or something like this. I'm like, how many users do they have?
Yeah.
And you got to divide the amount of users by that 30 billion, and okay, that's how much each person's worth. Like in terms of ad revenue, a lot of money.
Yeah, the biggest question. I know.
So yeah, like you couldn't make it a subscription service because no one would be able to afford it.
Yeah, and plus like Snapchat's gone down the gurgler a bit too. If we're talking about Snapchat, I think it's gone down the gurgler. Like not many people use it.
I think TikTok's emerged.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah, this is like a cult movement with
Yeah,
TikTok now.
I don't understand it. My friends talk about it. One apprentices at work talk about it. They're like 20, 21.
Yeah.
And like look at TikTok. Here's a funny video. Every time like they're not doing any work or they have to wait 5 minutes, they'll pull out their phone, watch
TikTok,
latest TikToks and things.
They like them TikTok thoughts.
Oh, they do. Yeah, they love the TikTok thoughts.
Well, what do they know? They're like, you know, early 20s apprentices. They're definitely gonna like the TikTok thoughts.
Yeah, and Instagram thoughts. They all follow like just hot girls on Instagram with their ass out. It's like what value do you get from that? what value do you get from looking at it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, a hot girl. It's like, but then if every girl's hot you follow, there's no discrepancy.
Yeah, like your what's it called? The hygiene factor for what's hot and unattractive and not attractive.
Yeah,
like too high then.
Because even like for me a 9 for them would be a 6 because there's someone a little bit hotter. Like because you're only seeing hot people. Yeah. An ugly person is still hot.
Yeah, it's this relativism, I guess, too.
Yeah, like it's all so distorted. And then if you are like proper fugly, you're like a minus number to them, or like, just not exist, or like everything's so like everything has to be perfect look, perfect ass, perfect muscles and whatnot.
Yeah, etc.
Perfect beard shape, perfect haircut. It's like if these people just constantly being fed with that information, when they see someone that's not attractive, what do they think? Like, how does their brain comprehend that?
Yeah.
If all they saw is attractive people for most of their day from obviously social media. Yeah.
Well, it just reinforces, you know, the values and stuff they have in their mind, kind of thing, I guess, with that, which doesn't sound like a positive thing in this case. Like with your standards, because that wouldn't just fuck with your like, you know, your perception of like attractiveness. It would fuck with your relationships a little bit too.
Yeah, because you'd be thinking, I can get someone hotter, or this person on like this real person who I follow on Instagram is hotter.
Yeah, like you wouldn't be content with, you know, like things that matter more, like I don't know, like finding a connection or something like that. They'd be like, oh, but you know,
but she's hot.
Yeah, like yeah,
she's got 10,000 likes on this photo, so she must be really hotly popular, and she'd want to be with me.
Yeah, if that did skew their perception that much, you know, which I guess it can, you know. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
But I think the social human connection with people is totally lost. Like, I'm old. I act like I'm like 50, but I'm not.
Yeah.
But like, it's just. I remember going places and talking to people, and like you go traveling, you go to a hostel, and you just start talking to people. But now, you go to the place and everyone's on Instagram, like editing their photos and things like this.
Yeah, it's sad. Like
you only travel to get likes from these like amazing photos at the beach or you in a new bikini, like, you know what I mean? Or like look at this luscious rainforest, like taking pictures and Snapchatting just to get likes. Like, are you even enjoying it?
Yeah, and that's to me like part of the fun kind of thing, and like it mitigates like against the kind of like the nervousness that often does come when you're a new person in a hostel kind of thing, especially if you don't really have a group that you've been on with. I've been like solo backpacking a few times, and like when people are just all retreating into their kind of like own kind of phones and stuff like that, it's hard to like make connections with people because you're like, what is my in kind of thing, like what's my in to like say this is like a friendship now, I want to get to know you kind of thing. Like,
I think in a hostel, like, if you don't know anyone, you just walk up to anybody and say hi.
Yeah.
They'll talk to you. Even if they're on their phone, generally they're nice enough to talk to you.
Yeah, you think
and then like, if you want to keep talking to them, you have to obviously interact with them in a positive way that gets their attention. Like, meeting people in that environment, I guess, would be easy. Because everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's doing the same thing for the same reason. Well, for different reasons, but doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, imagine trying to make new friends. Let's say you're like early 20s, and you want to make new friends like in a club or something like this, or you want to make new friends with similar interests. Where do you find these people?
I guess it's probably like around your interest areas, like any hobbies you have.
Yeah.
Like, because you could argue this, but I don't think you really find friends in the club. Like, that's not really
not in a club,
no, like, or maybe at a bar.
I mean at a club as in like an events thing, not like a nightclub.
An events thing. Okay.
Like, you go and you like enjoy playing snooker, so you go and play snooker. Or
like, how do you meet new people?
Yeah, maybe like go scuba diving. I guess that's the only way, really.
Yeah, like you either get introduced by friends kind of thing, like mutual connections kind of thing that become your friends through like those networks, or you go outside and you meet people through your own means kind of thing.
Yeah, or like a meet-up group somewhere, or like book club or something like this.
Yeah,
people with similar interests.
Because there's only ever two times, like there's those two ways. That's the only way you meet people in life. You get introduced or you meet them yourself, kind of thing. Like there's no other way. Like it's always one of those two things in a different format or function or something like that. Yeah.
I think when you're traveling, you can make friends with anyone.
Yeah, because you're in the same similar experience and like kind of just journey.
Yeah. That's kind of why I miss traveling. Like, I went from traveling to settling down.
Yeah.
And it's like two different extremes.
It's very much so. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I'm kind of hungry, so I'm gonna make some lasagna too.
It's getting quite late.
Yeah.
It's been good talking to you.
100%. Yeah.
It's our first episode, so who knows what's gonna go on from here.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you stayed this long. Like, what we got? 50 minutes, 45 minutes?
45 minutes, no way.
Yeah, it's not Joe Rogan, it's not like 3 hour, 45 minutes.
No, but there's a lot of twists and winds though. Which is...
Yeah, I think it is a good starting point. And then we can work out how we can go along with this and how we can make it more topical rather than just everything.
Yeah, we did cover a lot.
Good at rabbit holes.
Yeah, that's been fun. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah,
cheers.
No worries. Alright, thanks for having you. Yeah, guys, I'll update you on the next one. And thanks for watching. Cheers.